you very much for joining us. Now let's do something quite interesting, still in the spirit of the TVC Breakfast Saturday experience. And we're here to talk about this book before us, Persona Non Grata. It's written by Ismail Omipidon, who is a renowned journalist in Nigeria and tells a tale of his journey from childhood to being a journalist, overcoming, if I might add, discrimination, rejection, and harassment along the way. And despite these challenges, Mr. Omipidon persevered and eventually found success. The book also offers insights into his encounters with politicians and authorities. It's expected to generate and trigger controversial reactions from the media, politics, and power enthusiasts within and outside Nigeria's media and political landscapes. And the man himself joins us now, the author himself. Mr. Omipidon is the deputy editor of the Sun newspaper. Gentlemen and women, dear viewers, we present to you Ismail Omipidon in the flesh. Welcome. And thanks for joining us on the program. Right. Your first book?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Congratulations on this feat. From the reactions we are getting and from the little snippets we've been able to see, it sounds like this is a banger. Pardon my French. Right, but Persona Non Grata, and from the little I have seen there, this is a title that it's a book essentially by yourself.
Yeah.
You are the person that was labeled unwelcome, persona non grata in Borno State or thereabout.
Yeah.
It gives a sense of the kind of journalism that you faced. In fact, your book reviewer called it dangerous journalism. So give us, some insights into how you earned this title and how you overcame it, if at all.
Thank you very much. First, let me start by saying that I'm honored for this opportunity. I started journalism right from school. As a matter of fact, my first encounter with security operatives was back in Katpoli. There was a story we ran, and the school caretaker committee then, representing the student union government, felt it was too strong. And I got arrested by the school security men, and I think I was detained for 24 hours. Unfortunately, that fired me up. And so when I got to Borno State, I got in at a point when there was crisis between Alimodu Sheriff, he was a sitting senator then, and the incumbent governor, Alhaji Mala Kachala. Kachala is late now, may so rest in peace. But if you know my boss, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, very well in terms of being gentle, being calm, everything about that nature is what Kachala represents. And so Sheriff ruled him anyhow, and he was able to displace him, and he came to power. And so when he came to power that year, he believed very strongly that with his money, he could do anything, he could buy anybody. And here I was, a very young man, no wife, no kid, and I felt that, no, you can't do that to anybody. And so stories that colleagues would ordinarily shy away from were stories I was going for. For instance, the first story I did that created tension, it was called Power Behind the Throne. We're running a series after the 2003 election. We're running a series on how governors in their various states were running the show. And so when I read the one that was done on Abia State then was under PDP, His Excellency Senator Jules Okalu, who is my publisher of the Sun newspaper. So when I read the story, I said, if the Sun could publish this on Kalu, then I should be able to go all out in Borno. So, and then in Borno, Alimodu Sheriff was the governor, the sister-in-law was the accountant general, one of his younger brother was a commissioner, one of his uncle was the commissioner for finance. So I titled the story in Borno, the Godfather runs the show alone. So that exposition, he didn't like it. I think that was the beginning of my, cross with him.
Your deal or challenges.
Yeah.
You sound so confident and bold. At what point do you have that inspiration to be able to write those stories that you did?
When I got to Osun in 2019, one of the first people I encountered was incidentally the reviewer of the book, Dr. Lasisi Olagunju. He served His Excellency Olagunsoye Oyinlola as the Chief Press Secretary for 7 years. And so he gave me some of the books he wrote while he was working. And so in one of those books, I read the encounters of the tribunal case between Aregbesola and Olagunsoye Oyinlola. So when in 2022, when we lost that election, the idea of putting something together also came up. Before then, the moment I left Maiduguri, because of my experience with the Boko Haram, my experience in Borno especially, because it was in Borno for the first time I personally asked to be transferred out of Borno State because,
why?
Yeah, one of my major sources of information died mysteriously. And he told me the senior citizen that encountered him before that incident. So, and I know him to be a very strong person religiously. And for me, I knew I had nothing. And if the man could be visited, and shortly after he died mysteriously, I was afraid for my life.
Scared.
I got scared. And
Was that the time you came back? You came
no,
to the
they
south?
didn't transfer me then. I called Mr. Femi Adesina, the special advisor on media and publicity to the then President Buhari, was my editor then. So I called him. I said, I want to transfer out of Borno. He said, we can't take you away from there now. So what I did was just to change location. From where I was living, I relocated to another part of the town. So a year later, I got a call from the office that the governor has gone to report me again. Before then, he had reported me twice, and that they have asked the management to come down to see if they could be true. So it was when they came in, we were preparing to go to the government house, then a message came from the governor then to say that they shouldn't come with me to the government house.
You were a persona non grata, so what were you even going to do there in the first place?
By then, DMD now said, obviously the man wants to talk about you. Wait behind. When we are done, we'll come back with. So it was after the meeting, late Dingba Igwe, who was the then deputy managing director, told me that, look, Ismail, we are very proud of you. Elsewhere where we go, the story we hear is that journalists have been pocketed by government, but here, the man told us every effort he made to draw you closer, but that you have refused to compromise.
And he also found out that you were not even being bought by his enemies, by the other side.
In fairness to him, I give him credit for that. It's a big man. I wasn't at the meeting. If he decides to want to blackmail me, lie against me,
he could have.
He could have, and I was not there to defend myself. So I commend him for that. But his administration was very brutal. And I want to say with all sense of modesty that the way he ran Borno also contributed to how insurgency, thuggery, started. In Borno. Then if you insult the governor, and they are able to trace you, God help you.
Let's talk about your experience in the newsroom. At a point, someone described you as Omomolai.
Yeah, that was Bankole Falade. He was the news editor at The Punch. With due respect to my brothers and sisters from the Southwest, most of brothers here believe that those of us who school in the north don't know anything. Unfortunately, most of our lecturers are from the south. If you go to University of Maiduguri, for instance, you would think you are in any university in southern part of Nigeria. Presently, then and even presently, you know. So when I got to the newsroom, I presented my letter, and they said, I'm like, you know, a bill of foreign index. Now this, which means this Hausa people, what do they teach them? Put him on foreign index. And you know, in the newsroom, if you are sent to foreign index, it's like a Siberia, just
dry, basically.
Yeah, but I got there that evening. I think there was crisis in DR Congo then. So they gave me a press release to write from. I monitored the news on BBC. I did my transcription. I wrote my story. And the next day I came to the office and I saw 2 of my stories in the papers, and one of them on the front page. I was excited. You know, I think it didn't take long. I think I spent about a week or 2. And the same man who said that Amamala said, it's like this young man will be useful outside than keeping him on the decks. I think that was how I was attached to Mr. Deji Lumoye, who was covering defense and labor then. Incidentally, Mr. Deji is still in active practice. I think he's with This Day. Stephen. Yeah, Deji Lumoye.
But this story that you are, this true life story you're saying is sadly still the reality even now. Maybe that's why you even, you know, gave robust accounts in your book, calling the North-South dichotomy or thereabout. How that has helped our trajectory as a nation, as a people. If we expand this conversation to how things operate now, what has it, where has it led us, good or bad?
Well, unfortunately, in Nigeria, very sadly, when people discuss, you either discuss from either point of religion or
where you're from.
Or where you are from.
And in your case, even in the north where you worked, where you schooled, you were seen as...
Look, I was shocked in 2019 when I was transferred to Lagos. In the past, I thought it was only in the north that you get discriminated against on the basis of religion when you are looking for accommodation. But here in Lagos, First Act to be precise, we had agreed, we had discussed, and the next thing the woman asked me, sorry, say Muslim meaning I be Christian. Are you a Muslim or a Christian? And I told her, I'm a Muslim. She said, sorry, we can't give you accommodation. For me, it was shocking because I thought such discrimination only happens in the north. But you see, in fairness to the northerners, once you are able to also accept them as one of your own, if you have the language, you get things by easily. But here in the south, even when you understand the language, I've encountered a Yoruba man before with tribal mark. And I prostrated, I greeted him in Yoruba, and he was still speaking English to me. In the north, you don't find out. Once you get
you speak that
language. You speak that language, my brother, you are on.
So you grew to learn Hausa?
No,
they would definitely
I actually...
No, you will not. And I know why I say you will not, because now you will edge me to one corner, because he is also a maestro.
Yeah, I just found out.
You will not.
I just found out this morning.
Okay,
don't worry. Okay, you served as the chief press secretary to the former governor of Osun State from 2019 to 2022. How were you able to balance that spirit of journalism?
Indeed.
And able to come out and give accurate information to the resident of that state?
I must commend,
without bias.
Yeah, I must commend my principal, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola. I never knew him from Adam. There was no relationship prior to my appointment. In fact, when I was first contacted, I told them I wasn't interested because, you know, Nigerian politicians, most of them are very insincere. and most of them lie shamelessly. And so, as a young man, I was afraid of soiling my name. And so I didn't want it. But I remember those who spoke to me told me that, look, the man is a gentleman like you will like him. And when I resumed, I gave myself 3 months within which to decide whether I want to stay or go. But within 1 month, the man gave me enough reason to stay. And one of the things that happened, you know, he had a function, and no, it was Lautech. There was this back and forth between Osun and Oyo over Lautech ownership. So I met him. I said, sir, Oyo has been speaking over Lautech, and we haven't said anything. So we need to put out something. He said, okay. In that case, meaning? Say, don't lie about what we have not done. Be sure of your facts. Don't say things that will embarrass us. For me, it was as if a heavy load was lifted off my shoulder, because that was my greatest fear, that they will use me to lie. And that and I'm not sure I would have lasted. Because in my life, I've been very, very consistent in what I do, in what I say. You know, the second incident, he had a function, and they wrote a speech we were going through, and it was like, no, they are lying. We have not done this. We have not done that. So that gave me a very strong base to operate from. So with that kind of a person, I knew I had no reason to lie to anybody. Right. And so I give information as accurate as I can. And for the years I spent in Osun, there was no time I ever issued a statement and I came back to say, sorry, I made a mistake, or no. I thank God for that.
But your principal lost. What are your thoughts as to why he lost?
Let me be honest with you. He only lost the vote count. He never lost the election. And I tell you what, I will explain to you. Right. Osun, ask anybody. The voting population in Osogbo is far more than the voting population in Ede, North and South combined. By 4:35, they had finished elections in most parts of the states, including Osogbo, but they voted in Ede up to 11 p.m. in the night. And that was where all the shenanigans were perfected.
You had the opportunity in
No, you see, like I told you, my principal is a very gentleman. If he was a desperate politician, he has no reason to lose that vote count, because by the time we got to Ede, we realized that most of the security operatives were the ones who used the headlamp of their vehicles to provide light for those doing whatever they were doing. And
but was it an issue of evidence?
Of course.
Difficulty in gathering evidence
we were able to
prove these alleged illegalities.
We were able to prove it in court. You see, Osun's election was the last election before the presidential election. And so the internal gang up against the current president in APC affected us in Osun. Okay. Because all the federal agencies, from police, they were very hostile to us, even though APC was supposed to be in government. And even in court, and I explained that in my book, that Supreme Court may have decided in favor of PDP, but I believe that there was a miscarriage of justice. Right. And that will explain to you.
We don't have time now, but allow me just ask this direct question. How bright his chances are if he indeed chooses to return?
Looking
at the permutations,
in Yoruba,
him being a gentleman and all of that.
In Yoruba, they say that that when a woman does not try two husbands, you won't be able to know which one is better. The people of Osun, they have experienced Oyetola in 4 years when there was nothing. In those 4 years, we were feeding over 30,000 vulnerable citizens in Osun.
Is it better off now?
No, that's what I'm saying. So they are there now. They have experienced this one. I believe very strongly that if
let's come back to this book. Let's come back to this book. You have plans to launch this. So what's your plan?
It has been launched already.
All right. Okay.
And I want to thank all those who make out time, to attend the book launch, especially His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
It was in Abuja, right?
It was in Abuja, and my principal. They gave me their support. And for me, that event showed very clearly that if you do good, you will get it in return. Because if I were to be a minister, people will say it's because they want contract from me. That was why they turn up in their numbers. I had no political patronage to dispense. I have no contract to give, yet you see the attendance of the event.
Do you have plans in the future to become a politician?
No. It is not on the card for now. It is not on the card for now. My ambition is to become an editor of a paper. And that was one of the reasons why I left my political appointment to return to the newsroom.
and no regrets.
No regrets.
At all. Look.
But it has cost you because from what people have said, people who read the book, there were some revelations.
Yeah, the book reviewer told me, when he came in, the book reviewer is very conservative when it comes to traveling. Until he came for that book launch, he had not traveled to Abuja for 5 years. So when he came in, he asked me, do you want to listen to the review now? I told him no. I want to listen to it when every other person is, listening. But he now told me, say, well, I will give you warnings beforehand that your book, your friends will be more committed to you. Your enemies, the battle line is redrawn.
Is it? And was it?
Well,
you wouldn't know.
No, from the reactions
from
the feedback I'm getting, especially those who thought that the book is only about Aregbesola, they have been hurling insults and abuses at me, but it's not new to me. Like I told them, if there's anything you find in the book that you think is not correct, please come up.
Challenge.
I mentioned names. For instance, most people believe that my principal didn't manage Aregbesola well. And I tell people, as an insider, I know that the man tried his best to manage me. And I gave one example. When they were doing the APC revalidation exercise, I was there when my principal put a call to Aregbesola to say, sir, Baba Kande has done revalidation, I have done mine. You are the next. Come so day. He said, no, those 2 dates were not convenient for him. And he promised that he was going to inform him 48 hours to the time he would come. He didn't do that. The next thing, we just had him through a Facebook Live in Ilesha, lying shamelessly that they want to block me from doing my revalidation exercise. They have admitted murder into the party. That was the day I gave up on him. I said, look, they have been saying this man is a liar, and I just confirmed it now. And
right. All right. Well, we'll leave it at it. It's good to know. Mr. Omipidon here has given a challenge. Ordinarily would have stopped you from making those assertions, but yes, yeah, but all right, you've already given a challenge, and we hope that Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola will definitely have his day on this set to come and address some of the things that you have said here. But that's a fine place for us to rest, this conversation. It's good to have you back with us.
No, let's speak the outsider before he leaves the set.
Now you guess what? Now good day. Achi abunchi. Tukuna kaso Natash de sabi benchi abenchikova.
All right.
Let's move on. All right. Thanks a lot, Ismail Omipidon. We really wish you the best in your career, and all